go live. So just waiting for audio to get connected. Perfect. So we are right now live. And I'm just waiting for my live connection to get connected.
As a non-native.
Perfect. Wow. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to Saudi Arabia, I would say. Welcome, and it's my pleasure to have you all here. Welcome to Saudi Arabia Microsoft Excel and Power Platform Meetup. And I hope I'm sharing my screen. You can see my screen, right?
I don't see your screen, Faraz.
Oh, wow. Just a minute. Okay, so let me do it again.
You can see your screen.
Perfect. And now I believe you should be able to see my screen.
Oh, yes, we see. Thank you.
Yes. Cool. I didn't notice that it was not there. Usually it happens when you're really excited, and you have a friend coming from Sweden, and that's really lovely to have. So, oh, I broke the surprise now. Okay, so welcome back, my friends. Welcome to Saudi Arabia Microsoft Excel and Power Platform Meetup. This is one place in finance solutions where we connect, share, and learn together. And it has been organized by myself. I'm Faraz Shaikh. So that's my blogging website, company, excelexciting.com, through which I'm running all these meetups. Okay, just quickly to let you know about myself, I'm a founder of excelexciting.com and an MVP placed in Saudi Arabia, an NCT, an educator. I write blogs and make YouTube videos and run meetups. And my mission is always, I mentioned with my in every meetup, that it's to provide exciting solutions with Microsoft applications that can really make your task quicker and easier, and you can really enjoy the life. That's my mission. That okay, who would like to stay in the office for long hours? That's why we have systems. Let the system works for us. And my passion is equally to share the knowledge and gain the knowledge as well. So in today's session, I have my lovely friend. I've been very happy to know him, who is here, which I will quickly let you know about him. But these are the quick past meetups which had happened in Microsoft Excel, Saudi Arabia Power Platform Meetup. So definitely you can feel free to check out these recordings, and we have more to come as well. As I mentioned, more to come. These are our upcoming events, and we have Lizzie Thomas. She's going to talk about AI, because these days a lot of people are talking about AI. So Lizzie told me that, Faraz, okay, any specifics? I said, you are an expert of AI. So she's also an MVP. So she'll be coming and talking about AI in Power BI. So really excited, and you can definitely scan the QR code and you can reserve your spot for the upcoming session. So, but the session is going to be live tomorrow on the meetup page. So you can definitely register for that. Okay, and I always request in the community, my friends, to please come forward. If you have something to share the knowledge about Microsoft Excel, Power Platform, Azure, anything you would love to share on this community, this channel, we are very happy to welcome you over here. You can definitely write me back on my email address, and we can get back and connect again. Most of you know about this thing, so this slide is always there. But just like to let you know that the session is being live streamed right now and being getting recorded, and you can always find the recording on the YouTube / Excel Exciting page on the playlist of all the meetups. And the time has come. the most handsome guy over here in the house today, David. David and I have been into MVP, and I know David to there, and I'm very lovely to meet David, and we have been exchanging messages and chatting, about Excel, and he's been posting tricks about Excel, but those are in Swedish. But I believe Excel doesn't need any kind of a language, but when you see people doing it, it's automatically you understand, so I believe it's itself in the language, where people can communicate with each other. So I'm very happy to welcome David today on the hot seat over there in Sweden. And I hope someday I come to Sweden and see you over there. And so here is a rock star today. David, please feel free to introduce yourself, and you can take the stage from here.
Hello, Faraz. Good to see you tonight. So are you saying that Excel and love needs no language? Is that what you're saying?
I believe like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There are few things in the world that doesn't need or speak a certain language, and Excel is one and love is one. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful. I love that. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all, guys. My name is David. I will be here presenting to you the lesser known parts of Excel today. I am going to start with sharing my screen because I believe it's more fun for you guys to see the lesser known parts of Excel than just me talking about it. But let me introduce myself a little bit first. My name is David. My trademark is wearing a hat of some kind, different kinds, different styles, for different feelings in life. But I usually wear a hat of some kind. I am married. I am a father of 3 wonderful kids who are not home right now, but will be home soon. They might come through that door and interrupt me. We will see. I'm living just outside Stockholm in Sweden, Europe. That is here on this map for you guys to see. Well, actually, it's more like there. Anyways, I am active on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, doing Excel stuff. I also post more less serious Excel tips on Instagram, of course, in Swedish. So I'm active on many social platforms anyways. And I have roughly 3 million views on my Excel videos that I have created. All these videos are in Swedish. And I just wanted to let you feel in a little bit, to understand a little bit where this guy is coming from. Because I'm a BI consultant working with SQL Server and Power BI and, building data warehouses and doing all these huge data loads. But once, many years ago, I was without a contract. I'm a consultant, but I had no customer or client, which was odd for me because I usually don't. I usually have like 5 minutes between one customer and then I jump to next. And I am there for, a year or 2 helping them doing their data warehouse. And then I have 5 minutes of break and then I jump to the next client. But I had a few weeks between 2 assignments. And I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do? And I heard about this Danish dude down here, of course, in Copenhagen, who published a free ebook about the Office suite in Danish. And he got 50,000 downloads of that ebook. And, for me, it was like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to write an ebook to tick the box of being an author. And I happen to know Word quite well, and I happen to know Excel quite well. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to write a book, I need to, put my name on the map. I need to explain to the world that this guy knows what he's talking about. And I looked into LinkedIn because I had like 200 old connections there that I didn't know very well. And I didn't use my LinkedIn. So I thought to myself, well, if I record videos and publish on LinkedIn, then people eventually will get the hang of who I am and what I do. And meanwhile, I can write that book and then I can publish it and I can tick off the box of being an author. This is going to be great. But I came back to that question, Word or Excel? And everybody uses Word and everybody uses Excel. but you start Word, you do your stuff in Word, but then you close it and just run off, right? But if you do something very clever in Excel, you're feeling a little bit proud, you know. You're like, dude, you come look at this thing that I did in Excel. Look how good this looks, right? Look at this fantastic formula, and you feel sort of excited and engaged, and it evokes emotions. And of course, we all know that Excel evokes emotions within the entire spectra. You can be very upset and very frustrated and very angry at Excel. Maybe you're angry at Excel because very many features are hidden. They are lesser known, if you would like. And that's why I'm here today. I've been given the MVP award from Microsoft 2 years in a row. I'm hoping to get it a third time this summer, just as Faraz. I'm an MVP. So my point here is that Excel, you know, they have so many hidden features. There are so many things in Excel that people don't know about. And I want to share a little bit of different things in Excel that are lesser known or hidden. But I just wanted to say, please interrupt me, ask me questions. You know, this is a shared, joint experience. Let's be friendly. Let's not kill each other. Let's be friendly. Ask me things. We're here to learn, okay? We're not, you know, there's no fighting. This is Excel, and Excel communities are always very kind to each other. That's partially why I love Excel and doing these kinds of things. And also, I know that everybody who is here is thinking to themselves, do I get a copy of these files, the 2 files that David are going to show today? And yes, you will get a copy. I have a link for you. I have set it up. You can download it as soon as you have the link. And there is no registration. There is no fees, no nothing. Right. Oh, I see we have 3 things in the chat. I don't monitor the chat. Faraz, will you keep an eye on?
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Thank you. Good. Because it's complicated. You know, I can't do 2 things. I can't do the chat and Excel. Okay, so let's begin with this one. This is an interesting thing, I think. Oops. Let's take a number, you know, let's take a number, an easy number, 10. And if we take that number and add a 1 to that, and then in the next cell, we subtract 1 from that number, can anyone guess what Excel is going to put in B5? I'll give you no seconds at all to answer that. Of course, it's 10 because we added 1, subtracted 1. That should be the same as we started with, right? Well, now, it would be the same if Excel always calculated things correctly. However, Excel is not always right. If we take 1/9000th, for example, and we do the same operation, we add a 1 to that, then we subtract a 1 from that. What do we find out? Excel is actually not correct here. See the difference between these numbers? Of course, it's like on the 100 millionth decimal. But I think it is interesting that Excel is not handling decimals correctly all the way through. And you can even dig a little further into this. If we take this +1 - 1, we get the same problem. And if we compare these two, you see that they are not the same number, even inside of Excel. I think it's interesting. I have absolutely no reason for having so many decimals. I have never used it. No clients of mine have ever had this as a problem, but I think it's quite interesting. And of course, if you have studied math like I have, you wonder to yourself, what happens if we put the +1 - 1 in a parentheses first? Then it evaluates that first, so then we get the same number. Interesting, right? Okay, so that was the first part of Excel. Now I want to talk about the camera. And when I started doing this presentation about this part of Excel, there was no camera in the cell phone app, but you know, nowadays, Excel on your phone has a camera that can take photos of structured data, and you get it into your Excel sheet. It's magic. It's wonderful. But did you know that there is a camera in the desktop Excel as well? And to be able to find that, we need to show the quick access toolbar, this one. This is a very good toolbar to have because no IT department can control it. It's up to you to decide what's in this one, which is very nice because sometimes IT departments, want to fix things for you. And if we go to customize quick access toolbar and go to all commands here, this is a quite long list. Have anybody studied every one of these? Probably not, because there are millions of buttons and stuff you can add here. And here, they are ordered by letters, so it's quite easy to find. You find the camera. See, there is a camera icon. And this is a quite, I think this is a very strange function. What you do is you select the cells you want a live image of, and you push the camera button, and then you draw a square. And this is now a live image of the cells that we marked. You can increase the size of this if you want to see it better for some reason. And if we write something here, we had a cat in this meeting, so let's write cat. And you see, as soon as I write something here, it shows up within this live image of your Excel sheet. You can even, you can go wild here. You can add like diagrams or charts. And you see the camera captures whatever is within the area of the cells that you marked. This is very strange functionality, and no client of mine has ever used it for something real, if you want. But I think it's such a weird thing to have, like a live image in Excel. And please interrupt me and tell me all of the ways you have used this that has been perfect and functional, and that your clients love you for doing. But I think it's a weird one. Another one that I wanted to show you briefly here is the ability, if you have like a very long list of numbers here, it's very hard to compare August of 2017 and August of 2022 because it really doesn't really fit in your screen, right? And even if you create a table, you can scroll and it'll show you the labels at least. But there is a button over here, split. And if you push that button, you get this cross. And now you have 4 sections of your Excel spreadsheet. So you can actually scroll these sections individually. So you can have different parts of the Excel sheet on the screen at the same time. And you can even alter the size of this cross. So if you just want left to right, now you see that here on the right, we have 2022, and on the left, we have 2017. This is a marvelous little button that actually helps people quite a lot once they find it, but it's a little bit hidden, as many things are in Excel. So I just wanted to mention that. And now then over to something completely differently. I wrote a book about charts and graphs. And here is an interesting diagram or chart that you can create in Excel. And you see that these tops of this bar chart is like circular. It's a little bit rounded because it's about fruits. It's supposed to be nice and friendly. And it looks like this sunshade that is outside of Federica's fruits store, it's yellow and yellow. But how do we create a chart that has these rounded tops? Because it's live, all the digits are, as soon as you update it, it changes. So how did I do this? Well, I'll grab these numbers and I'll move it over here. What I do is I do 200 here. I just type 200 there and push it down with Control D. So we have 200 in all these cells. And if I then do this and subtract the 200 from each of the values, the sum of these are still the same as it says over here, but it's just that we have 200 and then we have the rest. And if we now create a little chart, a stacked column chart. Now you see that our 200 is at the bottom and the rest is on top of this. And if we then swap places with these in the data source window, you see that we have the 200 on top and the rest at the bottom. And here comes the little trick. If you now insert a picture into your Excel sheet, you can actually grab that picture and paste it onto the diagram or the bars. Let me change the color of this first. And if I copy that image, I did a Control-C, and I select these, that top part, and I paste it, then I get the rounded tops. And how is that possible? Well, this is a transparent image that has, you know, colors on the bottom half, and then the two top corners are transparent. And then that makes it arch like that in your diagram. Of course, you can add, you know, we were talking about cats. Cats and Excel, I don't know why, but somehow it's connected. Everything is connected. You can actually paste an image onto your to your bars wherever you want. But it might look a little bit funny, of course, but you can if you want to. And if we then change the gap width here to 25% or so, then the cat gets a little bit more normal, well, as normal as cats can be, I suppose. Okay, so, and what I did here with the original graph or diagram chart was, of course, that I changed the colors, and I made these are just elements that I added. These are shapes that I added within the same color. And these icons, I wanted to bring these icons up because this is such a marvelous part of the Office environment, I think. If you go to Insert, you have icons. And if you have not pushed that button, please do, because you have thousands of great icons here to choose from. And it's very nice. You know, you can search for whatever icon you want. A pine tree, you can add it. So what I did was, of course, I picked out the icons that matched whatever was selling, and then I added them to the chart just manually. So that's how I did this not so Excel-like chart. Another fun one. People sometimes ask me, David, do you hate macros in Excel and VBA? Well, I don't hate it. It certainly has its places, but I do like to try to not use it whenever possible. I try to limit the numbers of times I use it. And here's another one of those features that needs to be added as a button. There is a button here that is called Forms. And I'm not so sure how many people know about this one. But if you add it to the quick access toolbar and you have a table, this is important. You cannot do it in any other place. But if you have a table, you can actually push this button and receive like a form, and you add stuff here. David, age 46, I think, country, Sweden. And you add Steve, he is 30, he is from USA, and so forth. And you see, you can step through these. You can go to previous and next, and you can, you know, delete items. And you can add items. This is a very nice form to have. And it's called Forms Without VBA because this tab is called that. So you can call it, of course, something much more appropriate. But I think it's good. It's a good one because people who are a little bit afraid of Excel and are still entering data into it can use this instead. No VBA, no macros, no nothing. It's just a built-in function. And as I said, what you need is to have it stored in a table here. Clever little one, I think. Jesus, 31 comments in the chat. Faraz, have I missed something important here?
No, nothing much important. People are loving your session. And
Okay,
regarding
cool.
your camera, the trick which is there,
Yes.
most of the people have replied that they'll love to use it on the dashboard. And
Oh, yeah.
even I do a lot using it on dashboard, especially when you have a small set and you want to enlarge it. And so I do it that a lot.
Yeah, clever. Yeah. Yeah, you can
And
do it on
sometime
dashboards,
even
definitely.
while presenting it, when I'm presenting it to somebody, and you have your small number, so I just take the camera and enlarge it, and I can still work on the smaller part of the formula, and still people can see the larger one.
Ah, yeah. I can see those areas where you can use it. Definitely, clever ones. Good. So then I'll continue. I will do the fun with dates. This is this is a funny one. Last Saturday, I was sitting in a bar with a friend discussing different approaches to dates in different programming environments and programming languages and database engines. Because, you know, that's what I do on a Saturday night with a friend on a bar. You know what? There were no other strangers coming up to us and joining us in the conversation for some reason. It was just me and Alex, and you know, we were left alone sitting there discussing dates and how different programming languages and environments are storing dates. But when we were talking about it, we brought up how Excel is storing dates. And I suppose you know that dates in Excel are numbers. And if you add time to that number, it's the decimals to the number. If you have a date and time that you store in the same cell. And times, like a period, a time is like a decimal to a number. And dates are the whole part of that number. So if we input like a date, for example, today, now everybody will learn a little bit of Swedish, because I saw that my regional settings on this computer that I'm using right now is set to Swedish. So you will soon learn your first Swedish word. So not only Excel today, a little bit of Swedish as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm changing the number format on this cell to DDDD, which stands for the whole day string of that day. So today is Wednesday, and Wednesday in Swedish is onsdag. So it says Wednesday in that cell, just because, you know, it is a date, but Excel can convert it because dates are actually numbers, and Excel work with numbers and not these, you know, year, month, day. But the problem with Excel handling these as normal numbers is that there must be a zero, because, you know, if you have an integer and you store dates as that, there is a zero, and then there is a -1 and -2 and -3 and so forth. So there is actually a date called the 0th of January 1900, because that converted to a number is the number 0, which is kind of odd. And another one of these odd things in Excel that my brain for some reason stores and you know, likes somehow, is that Excel, of course, handles leap years. And you know how you calculate leap years, it's every fourth year, blah, blah, blah. But it's not every fourth year, because you need to skip a few leap years every now and then for the dates to be correct according to how much the Earth rotates around the sun. But so 1900 was not a leap year. But the developers at, I believe it was IBM at the time, who wrote, oh no, not Lotus Notes, Lotus 123, it's supposed to say, sorry about that. Lotus 123 was a spreadsheet program that was, you know, bigger than Excel, and Microsoft wanted to replicate everything that there was inside of Lotus 123 so that people could as easily select and buy Excel except instead of Lotus 123. So they replicated this bug of saying that 1900 was a leap year. Because if we had said 1901 here, of course it calculates that to the 1st of March. But 1900 shouldn't be a leap year, but the bug is still here in Excel today because of those programmers that created another program, another spreadsheet program, like, I don't know, 35, 40 years ago or something. I think that's quite funny because, you know, this is the latest updated Excel with no, you know, everything is up to date, latest version, but it's still interpreting 1900 as a leap year. And when we are talking about the years and stuff, did you know that there is a Roman function in Excel that can convert our Arabic year notification or notations to the Roman digits? So you get, you know, M for 1000, X for 10, and I for 3. And you can even go back again if you want to the notification or the style of writing years that at least I am more used to. So that was a little bit fun with dates, or fun. Well, if anybody is left watching this, I believe you thought it was a little bit fun. So anyways, erasing graphics and or clear formatting in Excel can be tricky. You know, you end up with these, you know, borders, and you end up with, you know, numbers and digits that are just a mess. And one way of clearing this is this little fellow here, the square at the bottom of the cell. If you just mark some empty cells, you can use it as an eraser. I think it's very clever. Because, you know, it erases all the formats. It's erasing everything that is behind the scenes. There is another way of doing that. Oh, somebody is writing on my screen. Interesting. If we go into this adding buttons to the quick toolbar again, there is a clear format, I think it's called. Let's see, clear format, yes. And if we add this button, then if you select the cells and you push this, it changes everything back to the standard font, standard size, removes all the colors, all the formatting, all the dates, and, you know, currency values and stuff you have added to the cells. And also, if you do use this quick access toolbar, quick access toolbar, if you push Alt, they have reserved all the numbers here for you. So you can actually have number 3 is the third button there. And, you know I added it as the third one. So Alt and 3 is a shortcut to clearing the cells, because, you know, you really don't want an Excel sheet to look like this. So Alt 3 clears it because you added it as the third button to the quick access toolbar. Okay, So back to charts now and Street Fighter. I don't know if you know the game Street Fighter. It's like it's a PlayStation and Xbox and game where there are two characters and they are fighting each other and they are beating up each other up. And I don't play it, but my sons do, and they love it. And when their character hits the other character, it loses percentage of life. This is very how computer games work, but they loses power. And one time I had this chart that a client of me told me to do within this this dashboard that I was creating for them. And I thought to myself, well, this chart could actually be presented in the way that these Street Fighter characters' life decreases over time. So I did this one for them, and they were so happy that I wanted to bring it up to you guys tonight. It's actually two bar charts, lying bar charts that I've decorated with some icons, the same way that I talked about before, this button over here. And the numbers are of course live. So if we change the numbers, the bar charts updates. And I just wanted, to illustrate for you guys that that sometimes you can use graphics that comes from a whole other world into the stuff that you're doing in Excel. Sometimes to challenge yourself or to just do something extraordinary, but sometimes it works out nicely because people understand two bars that are lying, that are decreasing more and more, and or growing more and more, because they have seen these kinds of games that I was talking about before. So at least I just wanted to include it because it's something that doesn't very much look like an Excel bar chart. I could have just as easily have done one of these blue ones. That's not as cool as this one, I think. So anyways, that was a little bit of a chart thing again. And then this paste as values, the one thing that we do so much. And everybody has different ways of doing it, I believe, because there are many ways of copying as a value, pasting it as normal or as a value. The way I do it, and some people have not seen it, is that I select the cells that I want to remove the formula from. I press down my right mouse button and I move the cell and I move it back again. And when I release the right mouse button, I get this menu. And in this menu, I can move copy here as values only, or copy here as formats only. But the third option here, copy here as value only. See, now it has removed my formula and the digits are just normal Excel numbers. I use it all the time because it's so quick, and you just, you copy it, you paste it. And I think it's a nice little trick that some people haven't seen, right? And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a very sensitive part of this presentation. I don't know about you guys, but I am a vivid Depeche Mode lover. I love the band, the group Depeche Mode, who started in 1981 and are now touring with their latest album. Buy it, please, because we need to support the guys. And if you are a vivid Depeche Mode lover, there are flame wars on the internet about what is a proper Depeche Mode album and what is not a proper Depeche Mode album. Because, internet, basically. and how people can be very, very, very deep in discussions about the tiny, little tiny details about stuff on internet. And 1989, Depeche Mode released an album called 101. It's a live album. And some people think that live albums should count in their discography, and some people think that they shouldn't be in their discography. If we were to put it into this list, it's a little bit annoying. You need to move all these and add it, or you need to put it at the bottom and then sort the list. There's a nice trick. If you select the cells and hold down Shift and move these cells, you see you get this shape, and that means that it's going to squeeze in the album between these two. And once I release my mouse button, you see it pushes down the cells and adds it to the list. Had I moved, now I didn't undo, and if I hold down Shift and I move it and I get this figure instead, it means that it's going to push the contents to the right instead of down. So I can actually cram it in right here. Of course, that looks weird because of the way that this data is stored, but it's possible to do that. And not many people know about this shift and move, and I think it's a very nice and very clever way of squeezing in some extra part of data. So I think it's safe for us now. I see that the chat has exploded, possibly about the 101 album. Should it be inside this list or not? Let's leave that till later during, after this presentation is done, maybe, but we can discuss it. Personally, I think it's a wonderful album and it should definitely be in the list. Anyways, another question that I get when I'm out teaching about Excel sometimes is, why can I not have two files open with the same file name? You have you have 2022.xlsx here, and then you have another one called 2022 xlsx, but you don't understand, why can I not have them open at the same time? Well, if you dig into Microsoft help documentation, there is a reason for this. And the reason is actually that the calculation ambiguity with linked cells, because if you have a cell that says book 1, sheet 1, A1, and there were two files called book 1 open at the same time, Excel wouldn't be able to tell which file it was you are referring to. So the situation when you try to open two Excel files with the same name will probably never be fixed, because Microsoft cannot really change this functionality, I think. But that's the reason for Excel telling you that you cannot have two Excel sheets, two files with the same name open at the same time. All right. Just wanted to say to throw it out there, because I read it somewhere deep into Microsoft's help documentation at one point, and I thought to myself, well, this is interesting, and I bet it's lesser known. So back to charts again. This time, a client of mine asked me to do a bonus level. Of course, all these numbers are of course made up, and this has nothing to do with that specific situation that I had with the client. But they wanted to have like a bar chart and then have a line running through it at one level. And if you want to change that level, you can do so by just changing the number here, because these are all references to this cell, and that cell is the green line there. How did I do this? Well, it's not that hard. You insert a bar chart, and you see the orange ones are the 60,000 there. If I now right click and select change series chart type, I can go down. Had I not been preparing this beforehand, this would have been selected. You can go down to combo and select that one of these should be a line. And once you do that, you get that line. And then I increase the data area for these just to make the line a little bit longer, because you want the line to reach out a little bit further to sorry about that. You want the line to be a little bit further out than the bars, just to make it look better, right? But that's how you do it. or that's one way of doing it. The client had, before I came to them, inserted lines like this. And of course you can. It's just that they are sometimes crooked and they are not so exact on the number. So that's one way of doing it. All right. So now, let's talk about life, or actually game of life. I don't know if you know about game of life, but I wanted to show you this because I think this is interesting, and I think it's a nifty little demo. So there was a mathematician in Britain that is called John Conway, and he invented this mathematical system with it's kind of like a game, but it's not a game. You'll get the grasp of it soon, but it's a way to describe like cells in your body, you know, the tiny microscopical cells, and how they move and how they can populate and die based on a very simple number of rules. So a cell, because he's calling it cells, any live cells with 2 or 3 live neighbors survives to the next generation. And any dead cell with 3 live neighbors becomes a live cell. So 3 can replicate to another one. So and this structure or system or whatever you want to call it, it's a simulation of populations, and you can actually do it in Excel. And I've seen many people do it with macros or VBA scripts, but I created my own one. And now we're back to that thing where I thought to myself, well, you don't need to do macros for this. So what I've done here is, so this is my playing field, or the part of the map, if you so like. And I've set up a number of conditional formatting here. So if I push a 1, I get a green, and otherwise I have a 0, and then it's gray. And what's so fascinating about this is that these very simple rules that are here, these are the 3 rules for this structure. They will make all these green parts move around. But then you think to yourself, wait a second, David, how can things move or change in Excel without VBA scripts or macros? Well, that's where I came up with this idea. And I have actually, so, well, you know, everyone who watches this right now, possibly on your spare time, maybe we can call each other a little bit Excel nerdy, you know, maybe a little bit of that, just not very much, but a little bit. And I thought to myself, I could actually use this to solve Sudokus as well, you know, the number game. I haven't done it, but I think it's possible to solve it without VBA scripts, doing the same thing that I'm going to show you now. Because, as I said, this is my game, this is my playing field with 0s and 1s. And there are these simple rules about what cells, what 1s are going to survive and what 1s are going to turn out to be 0s in the next generation. We're talking about generations. All of these will be calculated at the same time. And then, you know, it evolves over different generations. So what I did was I created another tab here called Generation Plus 1. And here I have calculated all the rules that you see. It's a little formula. And if I take these cells now and I do a copy and I go back to current generation and I paste them as values, again, paste as values, then that gives us the next generation of values here. And if I then repeat what I just did with Control Y, then I get the next generation, because these formulas update themselves based on the values that I just pasted. So the next generation is possible to just paste as values again with Control Y. And then you see that these cells, if you so like, they start to move. And depending on how fast I push Control Y, they move. The frame rate changes, of course. So I think it's an interesting experiment, and I think it's very interesting to see what patterns survive and what does not survive when you're, painting. And there are, of course, again, people on the internet who has been doing this maybe a little bit too much, but they have found out different interesting patterns, and I included some here just for you guys to play with once this meeting is over, if you like. So I have included them here, and you can draw them by just adding ones here wherever you want, and if you want to raise, you just add a 0, right? And then you go to generation +1, you copy all the cells, you stand in the first cell there, and you go paste as values, and then you can push Control Y to repeat this and see how your shape transforms into something else. And as I said, you will get a copy of this file. And I think, well, it's a very interesting little experiment, and it can be quite, well, I'm not saying it's useful, but it's the structure or the idea of having a separate sheet that calculates something and you paste as values, and you can repeat that process very simply by just going Control Y. At least that is of interest, or how I should say. So that was a little bit of the game of life. I also included here a little bit more text. I see that this cell was a little bit there is more to read about this if you want, and you can find it on the internet if you're really interested, but you will get that file as well. So that was the game of life. Now, I don't know if you're aware of Easter eggs in software. It was something that was invented in the 80s by the coders or programmers, and there are no Easter eggs in any of Microsoft's products today any longer, but they were a thing before. And these Easter eggs are hidden features added by the developers sort of for fun, right? It's hidden like an Easter egg, and they're just added for, there is no specific meaning for these. They're not adding anything interesting, and they're just fun, like a little tiny hidden joke, if you so like. And they were formally killed by Steve Ballmer when he started with the Trustworthy Computing program in 2002, the CEO before Satya. But they were formally killed. Of course, a few survived a little bit longer. But I thought to myself that since I do know about these Easter eggs, and we're talking about stuff that are lesser known about Excel, I'm not sure how many of you guys recognize this environment that I have here. This is prior to Windows 95, prior to Windows 98, prior to Vista and 7. There was an operating system called Windows 3.1. Wait, my mouse is actually very strange here. Let me restart that virtual machine, because you know the demo ghost is always here. Let me see if I can get the hang of this.
David, you're taking us back to future, something I'm seeing now.
Yeah. These
You're
are
time machine now.
definitely a time machine. Let me see why.
Lovely to see Windows 3.1.
Wait, this machine, I don't, let's power it off. Let's see if I can get this to work, because this is definitely a time machine, but I think it's quite it's a little bit amusing if I get this machine to run. At least we will see. This is old school, and of course it's a virtual machine running on my system. Then now, can I get my cursor? Why is this not working? It has been working wonderfully today, but it is not right now. Mouse integration. Why are you not?
Might be because of the screen sharing, it could be.
It might have to do with that, yes. Can I reach this in anyways? It would be annoying if I couldn't.
Maybe you can stop sharing and share it again. That would be.
Yeah. That's right. Let me see. Stop video.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, guys. I wasn't really prepared for this. Now, this is very strange.
Now, can you try sharing your screen?
Wait.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Here we go. Now I'm going to share my screen. So within Excel 5.0, do you see my screen now?
We can.
Yeah, good. Within Excel 5.0, there is this hidden feature. If you add this button that looks like a deck of cards to the toolbar or the menu here up here, and then you hold down Shift, Control, and Alt and push it, then you get this very strange animation of all the developers that created Excel 5.0. It's kind of nice, I think, and definitely lesser known, at least today then, because you know Excel 5.0 is quite old, one can say. You know, way before the ribbons and you know the graphical design that Microsoft is running today. And if we then go a little bit further up the way back machine to Windows 95, this is of course also very, very old, but this is this is also quite an no, I need to stop sharing my screen again. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, am I sharing my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
We can't see you, but.
Oh. Let me see if no, wait. Stop sharing my screen. Sorry about this. Let me see here. So I'm starting Excel in Windows 95 for you guys to follow along. And the very odd thing with this little Easter egg is that you scroll down in your Excel sheet to row 95. You select the entire row, you push tab, and you go to help, about Excel, and you push the no. Darn it. I thought I would be able to do this. there is this quite amusing little Easter egg in Windows in Excel that I wanted to show you guys so badly, but the demo ghost is unfortunately here today. Let's see, I'm trying it one more time, and I know that it's not, you don't see my screen, so it's not very fun for you guys, but about Excel. Here we go. Now, yeah, it was worth the wait. Well, depending on how you think about it. But if you scroll down to row 95, you select the entire row, you push tab once, so you have selected the B cell on line 95. You go into help, about Excel, and you hold down Shift Control Alt and push Tech Support button. Imagine Microsoft having a button called Tech Support, by the way. What you happen to get then is this new window called Hall of Tortured Souls. And this game, oh no, it doesn't work because of the screen sharing. It's a little 3D game where you can run in like a little hall and see the names of all the developers on the walls. It's like, you know, like a Doom or something like that. And if you write Excel KFA, then you actually get to a hidden room within this hidden feature of Excel that where you can see a picture of a few of the developers. So it's a very, very strange thing in Excel. Let me start that window again. Hold on, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go back to my virtual machine that freaks out when I share my screen for some reason, and I'm gonna hold on Control Shift and push it again. So just so that you can see, even though I cannot move around in this room, you will at least see the start of the room there with some pillars and some green stuff on the floor and some red things. The red things that are moving over here are the scrolling of the developers' names who created Excel. So you know, it's not very serious, and I suppose this might be one of the reasons for Steve Ballmer to tell the guys to remove all this junk code. But it's quite amusing, I think. And well, so I am coming up to the final sheets of my presentation here. I just wanted to say that, well, you know, conditional formatting as this button here, and you can, you know, make it change colors of the cells depending on the values inside of the cells. And if you really want to, and you have very many numbers, it might be a good idea to zoom out in your Excel sheet, right? Just to be able to see a little bit more of these digits. And once you zoom out enough, Excel actually removes even trying to print out the numbers, but it still keeps the conditional formatting. And there you have me inside of an Excel sheet. Isn't that marvelous? Well, at least it's quite, well, it was something that I did for a presentation once, and it took me for ages to convert this JPEG of myself to numbers. You know, I spent crazy amount of time just getting out the individual numbers from the JPEG of the photo that I did, because so that's why I haven't updated the photo. It's an older photo of me, but it took so much time that I don't want to do it again, because you know. So anyways, that was me, and I wanted to give you all a discount code. If you do know Swedish or you want to learn Swedish, I have a 10% discount on my site, stavegård.se. Today and tomorrow only. Use Saudi at checkout and you get 10% on my courses and my books and on everything that I have on that site. And if you want to download these two Excel sheets that I have showed you today, you're most welcome to do it. You go to torsdagstips.nu. It's a thursdaytip.now, but in Swedish again, because I mainly do stuff in Swedish, so that's why the URLs are in Swedish as well. But visit this page and you will find a big download button. You'll get the zip file with these two files. So for us, that was pretty much all of my presentation for today, actually.
Thank you, David. Thank you. There's a comment from Anthony, from YouTube.
Okay, sure.
Like to read it. It's in the chat. I'll just drop it again.
Well,
yeah.
It's
worried about the time you have spent it finding that dividing 1 by
9,000 and subtracting 1. Yeah, well, let me just say that because I have a long background of coding, a million different kind of programming languages. I started with the Commodore 64 way back in the 80s. I have done many programming languages and stuff, and many systems, and digits are always hard. So I had it in my gut to understand that Excel cannot reasonably handle like an unlimited amount of digits. And 1 by 9,000 gives you a lot of digits. Well, I'm glad that all of you came and stayed for the presentation. And please reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, David Stavegård. Just look for me and reach out if you have any questions or comments or anything. Or contact Faraz. There are ways to finding him and me on the internet. You cannot miss us.
Wow, David, that was really lovely. Thank you so much for your presentation. And that's been really insights about how lesser known function. And I'm very much happy today seeing the old Excel, 3.1 and 95.
Yes.
And you really refresh my school memories. And when we used to go to computer lab, and we are few friends who knows that there is an Easter egg, and we used to play with that. You really refresh that memory of my computers in my school. Thank you for that, David. Really love it. It was so fun.
There are things that can be considered Easter eggs in Word still. There is a way of getting Word to type out the lorem ipsum, this made up text. That when you enter equal lorem and then you parentheses and a number and you get the text written in your word sheet. It's not a Easter egg per se, but it's these hidden features. They do still exist. It's just that these games and stuff like that are removed since many years ago.
I think we should put up a poll back in LinkedIn or somewhere to ask whether to bring back those Easter eggs, so let's see how it goes.
There is one in Excel. I don't know if you know what version it was, but there is one where you can, if you go down at the bottom, the last row and most to the right, and you write Lotus 1, 2, 3 in that last cell at the bottom, at the most, right, then you see Lotus X 1, 2, 3's logo falling down through the screen, crashing into the bottom of the screen, cracking up, and there are bugs flying out of it. In Excel, for real. This is not made up. This is an old version of Excel. That's how Microsoft treated their competition back then.
Wow, I think that's one way of marketing it, or I would say strategy.
Yeah, I don't think that
but it was really lovely when we were as a kid. We really enjoyed. It was really lovely. As we are going to hit the clock, I would request all the friends to please stay on Zoom. Okay, we are going to sign out from the YouTube, but everybody please requested to be back on the Zoom. Okay, So, David, before I end my session, you know very well. So, I always ask my speaker, that is there any final thoughts, any words you have to say to the YouTube friends before we close from YouTube, but we'll be still back on Zoom. So please don't sign out.
No, I'm very glad that you all showed up. Thank you for that. And I think that the Excel community is a very friendly and nice environment. I'm glad that people are still friendly and nice and warm here. There are many other systems that where people are not as friendly. So I'm glad that people stay friendly. That's my final thought.
Thank you, David. Thank you. So my friends, we are going to sign out from YouTube, but we'll be still back on the Zoom. And it's lovely to see you all. And I hope to see you soon in the next session. And do follow us on LinkedIn, myself and David, and also follow the page for Excel Exciting, where you can come to know about the latest updates of upcoming events, not only for Saudi Arabia, but all over the globe, what is happening. So you can go and take the advantage and learn from that. And last but not least, make sure that you put us the comments, how you like the session. We would be very happy to answer you on the social media.
Yes,
Till then,
definitely.
take care. Bye from YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.